The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus told his disciples this parable. A man going on a journey called in his servants and entrusted his possessions to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to a third 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away. Immediately the one who received 5 talents went and traded with them and made another 5. Likewise, the one who received 2 made another 2. But the man who received 1 went off and dug a hole in the ground and buried his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants came back and settled accounts with them. The one who had received 5 talents came forward bringing the additional 5. He said, "Master, you gave me 5 talents. See, I have made 5 more." His master said to him, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. Since you are faithful in small matters, I will give you great responsibilities. Come, share your master's joy." Then the one who had received 2 talents also came forward and said, "Master, you gave me 2 talents. See, I have made 2 more." His master said to him, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. Since you were faithful in small matters, I will give you great responsibilities. Come, share your master's joy." Then the one who had received the 1 talent came forward and said, "Master, I knew you were a demanding person, harvesting where you did not plant and gathering where you did not scatter. So out of fear, I went off and buried your talent in the ground. Here it is back." The master said to him in reply, "You wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvest where I did not plant and gather where I did not scatter? Should you not have put my money in the bank so that I could have got it back with interest on my return? Now then, take the talent from him and give it to the one with 10. For to everyone who has, more will be given and he will grow rich. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. And throw this useless servant into the darkness outside, where there will be wailing and grinding of teeth." The Gospel of the Lord. As we get to the end of the liturgical year, as we get to the end times that we celebrate on the feast of Christ the King, King of the universe, that he is ultimately triumphant over everything that afflicts us and that afflicts him. As we get to the end of the liturgical year, we get hard readings that give us a sense of urgency. And I think they're hard readings that cause us to really struggle to understand, how could this good master refer to his servant as useless? How could he throw him into the darkness outside where there will be wailing and grinding of teeth? This is a hard story. This is a hard image for us to take in. And here we are on Sunday, on the Feast of the Resurrection, looking for good news from the gospel that we hear, and we hear of useless servants being thrown out of their master's home. This is hard for us, and I think it should cause us to struggle. What are these talents, right? What are these things given to us by God that are taken away from those who have little and given to those who have much? That seems like the contrary of a God who is so often concerned with the lowly ones, with the poor, with lifting them up and casting down the mighty and the rich. How on earth does this make sense for the God that we know? One way to understand this is simply that a talent would have weighed about 50 pounds, right? It's about 50 pounds of gold. This is a heavy weight. This is a weighty talent that someone is given. And to have 10 of these would be 500 pounds, right? And so I can think of anyone that I know that is in a position where they are responsible for many people, for institutions, for corporations, for cities and governments. Perhaps they have a place in a family where they are the ones who the entire family looks to for how to act or how to lead, how to practice the faith, whatever it might be. People with weighty responsibilities that weigh 50 or 500 pounds. That's a lot of weight. These people, they receive things from God. They receive gifts from God, especially the theological virtues, right, of faith, of hope, and of love. And I think this is the way that, at least for me, this makes the most sense of this passage, right? So the servant who received 10 talents received, metaphorically, 500 pounds of faith. And over the course of his life, he used his faith in order to grow faith in himself, in order to bring faith to other people. that God uses us, even though faith is a theological virtue, it's a gift from God, it's something that comes from God alone. We can make good use of it. We can respond to the faith that we're given, and so allow this faith to grow, allow this faith to spread to our family, to our workplace, to our children, whoever else it might be. And now this servant, this good and faithful servant, has multiplied the faith that he has received, or she has received, to the point of doubling it. So now this weighty virtue, this weighty gift of God, is now much more prevalent in the world. Likewise with the servant with two. The servant of two might receive hope, right? And faith is something that's immediately present to us and allows us to see the vision that's ahead of us, right? And that's important for the end of the liturgical year when we're looking forward to eternity, to Christ the King of the universe. It doesn't seem right now, in many ways, that Christ is reigning in our world. But we can look to the future by faith and see that this is now already present to us. And if I have faith, if I receive this virtue of faith, I see this now, I believe it, and I proclaim it to other people. Hope, likewise, is that I already enjoy this in my life. I don't have to wait for an enjoyment to come to me far down in the future, far away from me. But hope is that I already possess the blessing of having Christ the King as the Lord of my life, as the Lord of this world that I live in. And as a result, I can enjoy this love, right? This love, this weighty gift of love that the Lord gives to those who are blessed by him and so blessed one another. This is my understanding. And so the one who received the one talent and buried it, he was afraid that he could not do anything apart from God, right? He was afraid that this talent he had been given, this gift of virtue, would simply return to God exactly as it was. And so he didn't do anything with it. And I think this is something that we're often tempted to do when we are given a great responsibility, when we're given a great talent, a great gift, that we fear, well, what could I possibly do? Why am I worthy of this, right? And in concern over our own worthiness for what we've been given, we perhaps squander it. We don't use it well. We cast it aside. And this is the one thing that the Lord asks us not to do. Do not cast it aside. Do not allow it to be unnoticed, but instead receive this weight, carry this weight, and allow it to grow weightier, right? Allow this weight to be something that increases with time, and so is a greater treasure for our families, for the places where we work, for the people that we meet who are in need. This is the richness of our faith. This is the richness of our hope and our love, and it's something that the Lord desires to give to the world through us. If only we are responsive to his invitation, if only we're good and faithful servants. And at the end of time, when everything else is taken away, when everything else that we love turns to dust, we can be confident that these weighty treasures, these 500 pounds or 1,000 pounds of treasure that the Lord has given to us this whole life, will continue on. That's why these are so weighty, is that they're more real than anything else that we experience, any suffering we experience, anything that turns to dust. This faith, this hope, this love will last forever. And so we can receive it today, allow it to grow, share it with one another, and trust that it will last for all of time.